everybody, and welcome to the Double Stuff Podcast, where we're double the hosts, double the topics, and double the fun. I'm Dan.
I'm Charity.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Alan.
And it's a gorgeous 84 degrees here in January. How are you guys enjoying your weather there?
Oh, man.
Look at his smug little smile.
He is.
Totally rubbing it in that we just got a downpour of snow this morning in Kansas.
We got dumped on. Yeah, it's true.
Now, it hasn't been as bad as some places around the country. I know just a few weeks ago, the place where my mom grew up had 44 inches of snow.
Wow. 44 in how long? What was the period?
Overnight.
Overnight?
Oh my! Where does your mom live? I mean, if that's not giving too much information.
She grew up in Newark, which is one of the places a few weeks ago when they had all that snowfall in the Northeast.
Wow.
I wouldn't even know what to do.
In other words, Dan's telling us to stop complaining about our.
I think that's.
No kidding. Yeah.
No, mostly it's. I kind of feel like I miss that sort of weather. Not that we ever got kind of that extreme, but I remember going back there over the holiday season and having a lot more snow. And just even when we were younger, I felt like we had a lot more snow. Do you guys? I mean, do you guys enjoy snow? I feel like I did when I was a kid. I less so now, but.
See, me and Charity, we grew up in Indiana, and Indiana does get a lot of snow. Yeah, I used to enjoy it a bit when I was little. We didn't get a chance to do the snow days like other schools did.
Oh my gosh, it had to be like ridiculous amount of snow. I know every morning we would look at the news and you know how they scroll at the bottom like which schools are out. And there was one winter where like almost every school in Indianapolis was out except for ours.
Except for ours, yeah. We always used to joke around because they wouldn't do it unless like the abominable snowman was marching downtown and we had 50 feet and we couldn't even get out the door.
Yeah, I think we got maybe 2 snow days. And that's how you knew it was bad. Like if that school was out.
Yeah. But we weren't really one to, I think once or twice we did the sledding thing.
Oh, yeah.
No, we did it more.
I don't remember doing it that much.
After you got older, it was me and Christy that went sledding.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
What kind of sleds did you guys have? Did you have the saucers or did you have like the traditional rails? Or
So when we first went sledding, so this was somewhere there's a home video of this.
Yes,
which I hope never surfaces. But there are these big,
they're purple. They
long
were
purple sleds, just like the thick plastic or whatever. So we did that, and then a few times I went sledding after moving here. And at that time, I think I was like 12 or 13, so I was still a little bit older. But my little sister and I went sledding.
You're never too old to sled.
Oh, that's true.
The repercussions might be a little more.
Well, that's true. That's true, but it is totally worth it.
I slid into
I'll get on a saucer in a minute.
But yeah, I had a saucer sled, but I don't know where it came from because our dad took us sledding, and he just pulls out this sled like he just, I always keep a sled in my car. Like, I don't know where it came from, but he has a big sled. So I've used both. There was
a place in Topeka where I was growing up, and it was called Quinton Heights Hill. And it was, I don't know why the hill was so extreme. And in Topeka or just anywhere in Kansas, you're always, especially if you want to go sledding, you're kind of strapped on, okay, where do I go sledding? Because there's not too many big hills to like, make it worth the while to walk all the way back up afterwards for that thrill coming down. But there was a really popular place in Topeka called Quinton Heights, and I think it was a school. It might have been Quinton Heights Elementary. I don't know if it's even still there, but that was the place that everybody wanted to go to, and it was crowded. Even though it was totally like free, there was like nobody there. It wasn't like an industry or anything, but everybody went to this one hill. And it was like America's Funniest Home Videos. Yeah, it was too crowded. People coming down at like 30 miles an hour, knocking kids over. It was
30. That is fast.
Well, because you got to grease up. Haven't you ever seen American or National Lampoon? Yeah, Dan knows. You get some wax or you get some ham or something. You put it on and boom, bingo.
Well, Dan is talking like he always keeps some nonstick spray in the car for when that random bit of snow just falls.
What, in Florida?
You got to be prepared like a Boy Scout.
That's right. Good man.
I felt like we actually got pretty lucky in growing up in the small town that we did, because we had buses that would go out to the country. And if the buses couldn't make it out to the country to pick up kids, they would typically close school for snow days. And the city would close off. It was 6th Street. We only had a couple of decent sized hills, and they would close down the whole street from like the top of the hill all the way to the main street. And kids would just go sledding there. I mean, you just walk over there with your, I want to say toboggan. Is that like the lawn kind of skinny one?
That's like the traditional one with like the where you kind of like lay down on your stomach and you kind of like luge it all the way down the hill.
Is that okay? Maybe I was thinking of that, because I'm not thinking like I never had like a classic like rosebud sled.
Yeah, that's what Charity was talking about.
I went immediately to the rosebud sled.
Yeah.
you know, when you live in your mansion, you have nothing else to live for, and you think about, spoiler alert, guys, I'm giving out the ending of the movie.
Wow.
Where you're just like, rosebud. That's what Dan wants, apparently. You know?
I always wanted one of those. I think they were like, they're sort of like the classic sled, and then you go and you look at them, and I guess they're probably way more expensive when you could buy, a piece of plastic for a couple bucks.
Yeah, and I think that they were steerable, because I can remember we had one where you can either put your heels on the crossbar at the top of the toboggan, and with your heels you could kind of steer, or you could lay down and pull with it. But I mean, you couldn't. I mean, we're not talking about like
merging into traffic with your sled.
I mean, you could steer it like 2 degrees to the right or 2 degrees to the left.
But when you're a kid going down a really fast hill, you feel like a lion.
That's like control.
Oh yeah.
No, you were like Cool Runnings. You were luging the whole time.
Right. That's right. Had my lucky egg and everything.
So how do you say that? Luge? Luge?
That's French.
Luge?
I don't know. What? Wait.
Is that
Here we
French?
go.
Don't give
Here
me
we
a
go.
pop quiz. Oh, my teacher would be so disappointed.
Charity, how do you spell luge?
Oh, no. Let's ask
Our
people.
resident French
No, I hate it when people ask me something I don't know.
authority.
Well, I think this whole
Sorry,
series.
France. Sorry, French language.
This whole series shows our ignorance and smartness in some sort of
All right,
way.
let me give a guess before you. I want to say it's
I thought it was Luge.
Luge. No,
But-
I think it's O's.
Lou.
I thought it was Lug as well, like Luge.
Yeah.
How do you know that museum where all the sledding takes place?
Man, that is crazy. Have you guys seen those events where they're going like 50 miles an hour down an
I
ice
love
tunnel?
watching the
Oh,
Olympics.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
and it
exciting.
is Luge.
Ah, very good.
Whoever added an O was wrong.
Well,
I think it's like Louge.
I like
you get them losers from the loser state.
The people from Indiana lose.
Actually, they are called losers.
They are.
Yes.
Yay. I have redeemed
there you
myself.
go.
I'm the smartest man alive.
Alan is accidentally smart, guys.
That happens a lot.
I think we have the title for this episode.
So besides sledding then, and the last time like that it snowed there, I mean, do you have other winter activities that you like to do when we do get a decent amount of snow?
Staying inside and watching the snow. while it's
Boo.
blowing.
Yeah,
You go
I'm
outside.
kidding. No, snowman time.
There you go.
But Kansas doesn't get proper
You don't get snowman snow.
It's
That's
tough,
the problem. Yeah, it gets that crappy snow, and you just have to look at it in sadness and despair.
It's either like powder that won't stick, or it's slush
It's
and your
slushy
gloves
and
get
gross.
wet
Yeah.
and everything.
The last time I remember Wichita having proper snowman snow, I was in high school.
Okay.
And this is a fun snow story. So this was 2006 or so, I think. And, we were still new to Kansas. We had only lived here a few years. And our first few Christmases here were very warm. Like, it wasn't just, we didn't get a white Christmas. Like, I remember my first Christmas here, I was walking around in shorts.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, it's very warm for some reason. It's like 70 degrees or whatever. I think it was in 2006. My little sister and I were like really hoping for snow. We wanted snow so bad. And so we did get a good amount of snow that year. And then it quickly melted, but our house still had snow. And I remember like during Christmas break, looking at our house over the course of the break and like looking how the sun traveled. And I kid you not, the sun was never in our yard. Now, the surrounding houses, their grass was green and like, snow free.
Yeah.
We had like a good couple feet of snow just in our yard.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah. When you get home, talk to Christy about this. Yeah. So we had like a snowman in our yard and stuff, and we played in the snow.
Right.
But like the snow lasted for a very long time. And, we would come home from, going to the grocery store or whatever, and there'd be other kids playing in the yard in our snow.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Feed it.
This is our
Scram.
snow.
Yeah, but they would be playing in our yard because it was like, okay, the Harmon house has snow for whatever reasons. That was like the weird, snow of or no, was it 2016, 2006.
Sure.
Yeah, but that was really cool. So that's probably my favorite snow story.
I was always a little bit with snowmen. When you rolled them up, if you didn't have enough snow either, like it would pick up the leaves and the grass and the dirt, and so like your snowman would not be
grunge man. That's what you would have.
Exactly. It was like garbage pail kid version. That's right.
Like with electric
hobo snowman.
That's right. Yeah, I was always a little bit disappointed that it didn't come out like a proper Hallmark movie or you know the quintessential like this is what a Frosty the Snowman should look like.
Usually when you roll your snowball up, you get that like grossness in it, but after a while you pick up the snow and pack it out, so your snowman's going to be white anyway.
That's a pro tip. I didn't think about that.
Charity giving these snow life hacks.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So what we had to do when we didn't have enough snow is I remember one year, the last time I remember it really snowing pretty significantly, we were coming back from Oregon, and we were arriving back in Kansas right around the time that like a big snowstorm hit. So the next day, my wife and I went out and we made snow cats.
Oh.
So we basically took like little snowballs for the feet, 4 of them, and then we packed like a longer, like more oval shaped snowball and put it on top of them.
Nice.
You see how he one up your story? He's like, "Oh, you just made a snowman."
He's like, snowman.
Yeah. My wife and I made snow cats. They're actually lions.
That's
They're
right.
life-size snow lions.
We built a house for the cats.
Yeah.
And we built
they were the size of the lions outside of the New York Library. They were just on either side of our walkway.
Feeding them saucers of snow cone milk and all that stuff.
There you go.
So you can put our stuff to shame. That's part of the reason why he bides his time quietly. He was like, "You guys go ahead and tell your story." And then I've got
sounds a lot better. It sounds a lot better than it looked. What it looked like was a janky oval-shaped ball with like a little face carved in it on 4 feet.
Is that the kind where you're like, so what is it? You're like, it's a cat, obviously.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you had to explain it, you know that you didn't do it right.
Like, some people don't appreciate art.
Well, alien cat.
Just throw it in a little. Well, it's an abstract. It's an impression of what a cat is.
That's exactly right.
Well,
you all know that I can't draw. I can't sculpt either. So.
At least you're consistent, Dan.
But the thing is that he's got 2 cats as models, or mews, because I like to play on words.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what they were doing while they were modeling for him. You know?
That's right.
So that's the advantage. So he might not be able to draw, but at least he had some references.
That's right.
That's exactly right. That's
but
right.
Like,
so,
I was going to say, you know, because Terry was talking, or both Charity and Alan were talking about, you know, snow and the Hallmark movies and stuff. Because see, I have this romantic view of snow. Because I have this rigid concept that snow is only good on Christmas Eve going into Christmas Day and New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day. Now it worked out this year in Kansas. We actually did get we actually did get New Year's snow, which I do enjoy. But once January 2nd rolls around, it should be melted because it's like the snow. I'm like, it's only pretty when the holidays call for it, and that way you can, you know, kiss under the mistletoe and Christmas miracles and Santa, but then, you know, that's over now. So it's like, well, the snow, now it's just a menace. Now it's just slushy menace all over the floor.
See, what Kansas does over and over again, it'll snow, and then we'll have like a week or whatever of warm days, and then at night it'll drop below freezing, and so it'll just freeze everything over.
Yep.
And then you're driving doing your Disney on Ice impression for about 2.5 weeks because it'll snow, and then it'll melt, and then freeze, and then it'll, you know, melt a little bit, and then you get that fresh layer of ice.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
Yeah, it's
that's where I get to pretend, or keeps me on my toes when I'm driving. I'm like, how far can I push it before I lose control?
Oh, I'm sure your wife loves that too.
Oh, she loves it. Yeah, she's Alan, stop it! What are you doing?
She's probably busy doing the mom seatbelt arm, like trying to keep everyone from flying.
You had mentioned like your mom getting dumped on with like 40 inches. Now that's too much. So the 6 inches that we, which is a lot for where we get in Kansas, that's about the maximum. Because I can remember when I was back in California, even though I was in the valley in Southern California, it was a 30-minute drive up to the mountains, and I had colleagues and friends that lived up there, and they would have to shovel off their roofs because it could collapse your roof. Wow. So they'd build up a ramp on the side of their house to climb, and then they would take a shovel to their roofs. And I think that any sort of charm of snow loses all of it when you have to, when you're wondering, is my roof going to collapse on me while I
Up on the
sleep
rooftop
tonight?
might collapse.
Exactly.
And that is one thing, like when we think about snow, we always like to think about, snow days off or going sledding or building snowmen. But it's also a work day for some people. I remember the first thing you had to do was get out, grab the shovel, and get to work.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever it was done.
I don't have to remember it. I did it.
Yeah. When I was working Master Control, because in Master Control and television, there are no days off.
Mm-hmm.
And
because everyone's home watching TV, so if you don't do your job, then someone's mad at
Unsung
you.
heroes,
exactly.
Right there. Essential worker.
So there would be a lot of winters when I was working there, and it would just be me in the building, and they hadn't shoveled the snow, and so I pull up, and the whole parking lot full of snow, and
I can only think of donuts. I'm gonna spin some donuts.
Oh, I was in the worst frame of mind to think about donuts, glazed, sprinkled, or any kind. but there was a lot, and then they wouldn't leave, or at least I don't remember them leaving shovels. So I'm sitting here trying to drive with my old car, with the snow going up so high, and I'm kind of using my legs to kind of shuffle the snow away.
Mm-hmm.
But that was always, that's what made it frustrating. But yeah, because from an adult standpoint, snow days, what's that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Every once in a while, but like if you're not in TV, for the most part, you might be able to get a couple of days off. But it seemed like in our industry, because people rely on the sanity of us to be able to create content on a 24-hour basis to keep going, that has its pros and cons.
Too.
Healthcare workers, yeah.
Since you were talking, sorry.
First responder.
I was going to say, since you were talking about snow and TV, it made me think of, I don't know if you guys seen this, the Christmas special for Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
Where he opens the door and they were snowed in, but the snow was like to the roof of the house. Whoa. So Charles Ingalls has to go to the loft of his house, open the window and like put on snowshoes and go to the barn to get the Christmas presents. And like, it's supposed to be like really cute and everything, but like everyone else from Walnut Grove is in the Ingalls home. And so I'm thinking, okay, after Christmas is over, you've got all these people from Walnut Grove in your house. And the snow is to your roof. So
you gotta wait for the spring thaw after 3 months, and they're all sitting there.
Yeah, and you've got like, what do they have? 10 people in their house?
They had quite a few.
Yeah, my mind wandered, and I was thinking of the snow to the roof of their house, and I was like, that's terrible.
Well, the thing is just that we just see it from their house. I mean, in Walnut Grove, you got the church and the general store and the mercantile. I'm like, they're completely covered, so everybody else freezes to death. Like, I don't know what happened to the other
everybody else is in the Ingalls house. That's
true. We all get together.
So now that we've been doing this podcast since April, we have now gone through every season. Where we've been podcasting through every season. So where does winter weather, whether it's snow or just dead everything everywhere, rank among the other seasons for you?
Second place. Autumn's first. Winter is second. Skip a few.
A few. There's only two other seasons to choose from.
No, think of it as a ladder. So the top rung is autumn. Second is winter. Go about halfway down the ladder, you're spring, and then somewhere underneath, about 6 feet down into the ground, is summer.
Oh, wow. Summer is the graveyard of seasons?
Yes. I hate summer.
I'll agree with the order. I don't know about like the position in the race.
The position remains where it's at, Alan. I just hate sweating. When it's cold, you can always layer up, and at some point you'll get warm. In the summer, you can only take off so many layers, and even if you're walking around naked, you would still be sweaty.
Well, that's words to live by.
Sweaty and sunburned.
Sweaty and sunburned.
one out of two ain't bad, right?
That's right.
I don't know. I still, maybe that's the plus side. I admit I still do like summer, to the chagrin of the rest of the people here. But also, I do kind of like spring, even though spring seems to be a weird hybrid. Sometimes you can have cool springs and you have warm springs. It just depends.
The same with autumn.
Yeah. I think it seemed like lately, at least maybe in the Kansas area, I can't speak for other places in the U.S. or around the world, but it seemed like spring has been more cold lately. Yeah, it has.
Spring is too hot. Summer be creeping in way too fast. I'm like, okay, summer, back it off. You got a good, almost 6 months out of the year. You're just getting greedy.
Is that how that works?
That's how I feel about summer.
Well, and we're saying this as we're in the studio and experiencing all 4 seasons, whereas Dan and I've been at that latitude before. It might be a little bit different. We were looking, well, I kind of miss winter or something like that. Does that happen?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even with this most recent storm, looking at the pictures or hearing about it online or from family, it's kind of like, yeah, I miss that actually. I joke about it being 84 here, but it's also 84. Like I have the fans running and the air conditioning going in January. So
yeah,
I miss it. I'm ready to, I like coats. I mentioned this before. I'm a big coat fan. Can't wear coats here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
just
for nostalgia
the AC in your apartment, Dan. Just make it really
That's exactly
cold.
right.
I think in Tampa, if you wear a coat, you're subject to stop and frisk. What's this guy hiding?
I'm hiding my memories. That's what I'm doing.
Well, on that, we'll go ahead and leave that there. Hope everybody bundles up, stays warm where you're at, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening. You can find other episodes on doublestuffpod.com or your favorite podcast app. You can also join in the fun on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Double Stuff Podcast and on Twitter at DoubleStuffP, as in the letter P.